first we need to start with definitions, and it's important that we do that so that we all know what we're talking about. So first, defining race. It's an ever-evolving social, legal, and political or artificial construct. What do you think that means? What does it mean that race is an artificial construct?
It's whatever, like, social medias or whatever basically kind of say it to be in our current time, and it changes.
That's right, that's right. So our concept of race has changed over time, right? So what it means to us today is different from how it meant to people in the 1500s, right? And we're still there. So we're, you know, in years from now, it'll be something that is still evolving, right? So race is fluid and constructed, right? So we'll get into that a little bit. It has no basis in biological fact. So there is nothing genetically that proves the concept of race. So for example, I self-identify as Black and Mexican American or a Black Latina. There's nothing in my genetic structure that says she's Black and she's Latina, right? I might have, excuse me, genetic predispositions, or there can be correlations that are similar to my family or ethnic group, but it's not about necessarily race as I'm talking about it today in terms of a legal created construct. However, the way that the law has looked at race has been very much in creating that, assuming as if race exists in biology. And also I hold a law degree, so part of how I look at these things is, you know, how does the law, legal construction inform public policy today, and how we think about, you know, groups of people. Racialization is the extension of racial meaning to a previously race-neutral term, concept, group, or practice. Can the folks on the phone see these slides?
If they go to the website, can they see them, or?
No, it's not like a simultaneous hookup. Okay. So I'll make sure that folks on the phone, if you have any questions, please feel free to just jump right in, since you're not able to see what the group is saying. Okay, so essentially what that means is, so I'll repeat that term, racialization, the extension of racial meaning to a previously race-neutral term, concept, group, or practice. So if we use a term and we use it in a certain context and we use it over and over again in that context, that previously race-neutral term takes on racial meaning. So can anybody think of a term just by hearing it has a racial connotation to it, even though it's not, there's nothing about that term that says race? How about gangs? What's the racial group that pops into our mind that we're socialized and think about?
Actually, I think of Asians, but...
Okay, so perhaps in your social context or word association, maybe that's what
right,
pops up
that's
for you.
automatic. That's the first thing I see. That's what I see. That's weird.
You're right. But
it's
let's say mainstream,
demand, right?
Right, in general society, who do we consider as gangs?
African
Americans and Latinos. Okay. So there's nothing about the term gang itself that says anything racial. But the way that it's used, whether it's through the media or through public perception, gives it that racial meaning. What about the word or the phrase welfare queen? What's the image that tends to pop into the mind? And please, this is not a time to be politically correct. Yeah, and specifically which minority woman or women? Black, right? Mm-hmm. Black women. And so that was a term that was popularized or politicized late 1970s or through the 80s, right? To kind of, you know, when we use this phrase politically, I know if I use this phrase, you all are going to think of Black woman, right? Even though welfare queen in and of itself is a racially neutral phrase. There's nothing on there in that phrase that suggests anything about race. Any questions or comments? Okay.